Hi, kids. Okay, next up is Mrs. Miniver, released July 4th, 1942. So I think we find going through these films that they're all sort of told from different perspectives, different point of views, highlighting different aspects of the war. Um, Wings was World War One, aviation, All Quiet on the Western Front is the German side, right in the trenches. Mrs. Miniver is a British housewife affected by the war. So, different aspects. Mrs. Miniver went into pre production um, prior to the bombing on Pearl Harbor, so Pearl Harbor attack. So um, prior to that, it's based on a novel from 1940. It stars Greer Garson and Walter Pidgeon. Walter Pidgeon, unfortunately, is a man, not a pigeon, but can't win them all. Anyways, um, so in pre production at the time, there was in the Hays Code that comes up a lot in my horror series. It comes up in the war series here. Hays Code prohibited from producing a film that was anti-Nazi, right? And this is before Pearl Harbor, before the U.S. is involved in the war. Also, Joseph Kennedy, the patriarch of the Kennedy clan, he at the time was the U.S. ambassador to the UK, and he instructed studios that the British defeat was imminent. So that's the attitude. That's the opinions at the time. I think this gets overlooked. That prior to Pearl Harbor, the U.S. was more than happy, for the most part, to just sit back, let things happen. Didn't want to ruffle any feathers. Not allowed to make a movie that's anti-Nazi, and the British are going to lose. So, but the head of the studio, MGM, Eddie Mannix, he said that even if we lose $100,000, which is, remember, this is 1942, so $100,000 is even a lot more back then, he'd be okay with it. So he wanted to side with, he wanted to show support for the British, so he wanted to make this movie. Then, of course, Pearl Harbor happens, and there's adjustments to the script to reflect that. And it goes on to be the highest grossing film of 1942. One of the most screened or sold the most tickets in the UK. It was a very popular film. It grossed $8.9 million at the box office. For some perspective, in 1942, it had a budget of $1.3 million. And it's nominated for 11 Academy Awards, and it won 6 of them. 2 of those, one is for Best Picture, right? That's the reason we're talking about these. The other one is for Best Director, for William Wyler. William Wyler was a Swiss German immigrant, so there's that to this whole everything that's going on. And I think when we're talking about directors, greatest directors of all time, William Wyler often doesn't get mentioned, gets overlooked. He won Best Director 3 times, and he holds the record for the most nominations with 12. Nominated 12 times for Best Director. A lot of people don't know who William Wyler is. He's been credited with propelling the careers of people like Katharine Hepburn, Barbara Streisand, Betty Davis. It says that he made her a far better actress. Laurence Olivier says that he taught him how to act for the screen, right? So he's a classically trained British Shakespearean actor. It's a little bit different from the big screen. 14 actors appearing in his film went on to win Best Actor or Actress awards at the Academy Award. He's the mentor of John Huston. We'll get to John Huston a little bit later in 2 more videos. He hired him as a screenwriter. Wyler, following this, served the military from 42 to 45. He directed 2 documentaries. Got John Huston to help with the screenwriting with him on those, highlighting war efforts. I think he made a documentary about a warplane. Yeah, so that's about it for Mrs. Miniver. We're going to talk about William Wyler, as I said, 2 videos from now, because there's another one of his films. And we'll talk about a bit of the directors following Pearl Harbor who joined the war effort and focus on it a little more. That's about it for this video. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, tell all your friends. Thanks, guys.